Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. The holidays are finally over. I hope that you have finally broken out of your holiday mode. I know that I have for sure. Trust me, when I say that I was in holiday mode when it was actually the holidays, you better believe that I was in full-on holiday mode. I did not want to do much. I didn't want to do anything at all, essentially. I was lazy, sluggish, bored, all that you could actually think of that describe lazy. Turtle-like, snail-like, rotting, decomposing, whatever you could say. I was just like not feeling it. Since the new year has actually, we're going through it right now. Holiday mode has been shaken off for me, and I'm actually back to 100% to normal, I guess I could say. And which is good. It's good to get a new healthy start to the year. It's good to get like that refresh mentality. I know I do have it. I usually don't have it all that much. I'll be honest with you. I like to think that the new year doesn't really mean much to me mentally wise. Like I just feel like, oh, it's a new year, just do the same things that I normally did, but in a new year. But for me this year, I ended the year kind of on a not so healthy way. So I'm starting to get my bearings back and actually be healthy again. One of the things that happens with the new year though is New Year's resolutions, which I'm pretty sure you guys have already made. Have had some, have tried to do them, failed at them, whatever it may be. But we always try to do that, right? One of the big ones that people like to do in the new year is to work out more. And I work out a lot. Didn't do as best as I could as the year ended, but I'm back. And going back consistently has been good. Feels good to be back and working out and getting strong again. It really does feel good. I mean, working out for some reason, just kind of makes you feel so much better about yourself, and you can just kind of feel it. Being strong is cool. I think that, when someone like me who works out, usually daily, a lot of times a week, that, you kind of get this into this groove and this mentality of like, I got to do this today, got to do that today, got to do this, can't do that, got to do this instead. Get into a routine and a rhythm. And I think that that's what I kind of needed with the turn of the year, is to get back into it. Never really was out of it. Kind of, stalled out a little bit, but I wasn't really completely out of it. But now that I'm back, I feel much better. I feel like I'm gaining my strength back that I should have had at the end of the year. But, it's cool. But I said, like, with New Year's resolutions, a lot of people like to put working out. So when I was going back to the gym, I thought to myself, like, oh, man, it's going to be so packed. It's going to be crazy in there. Is there going to be machines? Is there going to be room at the bench press? Is there going to be dumbbells? Is anything going to be open? Is there just going to be a lot of people? Is it going to be flooded? I typically go like more in the mornings when I work out. So luckily for me, I haven't seen a whole lot of people working out in my gym, which has been good because any gym, big or small, when it gets crowded and just super, jam-packed in there, and, it's like you're waiting for a machine, waiting for some weights, you just never can get them. It's always annoying. And I just hate being there at that moment. It's just like, I want to get out of here. It's annoying me. And normally sometimes I would just bail out. If a gym was just way too crowded, I was just like, you know what? I'll be here for way too long. I got a time limit. I got a time frame. I got to go. But recently, the gym has not been that packed. It's been actually kind of steady. And like I said, I go in the mornings usually. Today I'm going to be going in the afternoon, so I'll see how that is. But lately in the mornings, it's been pretty good, pretty steady, not crazy. which is strange because it's like, did a lot of people just already quit their New Year's resolutions? Not even 10 days into the new year, or is it just like the time of it is just working out for me? I think it's a little bit of both. I think a little bit of people probably gave up already. Actually today we actually had some sunlight today, so that actually felt good too. That actually makes you want to get up and go more. But lately there's been, the past couple days we've had sun. I would say maybe the first 4 days, not a whole lot of sun, and now we got some sun today. So, I mean, that's pretty good. The sun, for sure, at least for me, motivates me a lot to do much more things than no sun. I already told you guys before, I'm a sun guy. I don't like darkness. I don't like droopiness. No, it's not droopy. What is it? I don't know. I don't like gloominess. That's what it is. I don't like gloominess. I like sunshine and stuff like that. I think that's I like that more than just being in the dark, overcast. It's not my thing to be in like an overcast environment. Just not what I like, But it has been pretty good, decent, not too crazy in the gym, which again, thank God. I've also started to do arm day and then designated days for working out. I'm starting to do that more now because I feel like normally what I would do is I would try to hit everything and then also get like half an hour of cardio in at the gym. I don't think that really is good because I wasn't really getting results that I wanted in areas where I would just do everything in one day. So I would do bench pressing, I would do arms, I would do shoulders, I would do triceps, biceps as well, and then back all in one go. I think that might not be the way to go. Now, you're probably listening to this like, oh yeah, obviously not. You're an idiot. Well, yeah, true. I am an idiot, but it takes experience and your own experience to shape the way that you work out, right? You can listen to anyone online, any of your friends, any of these routines, programs, whatever. You are going to find out that the best way to get your best workout out of you is by how you construct it yourself. Like, I just did chest and back, and the day before I did arms and shoulders, and I feel good. I feel really good, actually. I like breaking it up more like that. For one, because when I try to fit everything in one, I feel like I can rush sometimes, but I also feel like sometimes I could just drag it out way too long, and then I'm just lifting weights for like almost an hour and a half when I gotta also do cardio and I got things to do after, and I just am there for way too long. So I found out that splitting it up like this allows you to use that time for those specific muscle groups, and it does not feel like I'm one, rushing, or two, they're too long when you split up like that. It actually feels a lot more like I'm actually putting in the work that needs to be done for that muscle group, I feel like. And I just started it, by the way, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I'm progressing better this way, or I should go back to the other way I was doing it. I don't think I will have to go back. I think that this way is going to be better for me, that I won't have to go back to trying to hit everything in one day. That's kind of crazy. Now that I think about it, everything in one day is really tough. It's really, really tough, which I don't think it even gives you enough time to build the strength up in that muscle group, whatever you're trying to do, when you're doing it all in one day. Obviously, you guys were listening to what I was saying. I did not mention a leg day. I have not done a leg exercise workout in like 2 months. I really do not want to do legs. I really don't, because I find that me walking max incline on a treadmill for 30 minutes is good enough legs um, for me. And I see people all the time doing leg exercises, doing like the, whether it be squats, whether it be like sitting on the machine and then raising their legs up like that. I don't know what it's called, but like I find that me on the treadmill, like I said, on incline is good enough leg exercises for me. And then there was a day I was walking. I passed by a mirror, and I was wearing my normal, just regular pants, and my legs looked really, really bad, like incredibly skinny. Like you could tell they could not fill the pant legs that I had on. Yeah, it was kind of it was strange. It didn't look right. It looked like I was kind of like a ghost. That I was just like kind of floating in the pants that I had, that I did not have legs at all, or very, 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 well, I mean, they look like really small legs. So I saw that and I was like, whoa, that looks really bad. So I just got to make the time and the day and put it in and actually do a leg workout. Because I'm at the point where it's like, I can't be walking around like this with like absolutely nothing on my legs. And I don't feel like my legs are giant or skinny at all. I feel like my legs are kind of giant, but they're not at all. Or maybe all these mirrors are just like deceiving and they're not accurate. Like I walk by a mirror, or I'm in the bathroom and I see it and I'm like, whoa, like my legs look freaking tiny. Like I really gotta actually like do something about this. But the thing is with legs, what kind of sucks, I'll be honest with you, is because you need your legs to go pretty much anywhere you want, right? If I do a crazy, crazy leg workout, or if I even do any kind of workout at all, right, for my legs, I guarantee you I'm going to be so sore the following day, I probably won't even be able to walk on my legs. I wouldn't even be able to move. So it's like I got to find the right day where I'm able to, the day after I'll be able to at least, have some time to rest my legs. That way I'm not like freaking crying the entire day when I have to walk around and like just, in excruciating pain. Which I mean, like I've been sore, right? When you work out my upper body, there's times where I'm sore. It's a manageable soreness because it's not like I'm using my arms to travel. I got to use my legs for that, right? So I don't know. I just feel like also like, I mean, like if I'm going to commit to leg days, if I'm going to actually commit to this, then I got to know exactly what to do, exactly how to attack it, exactly how to, what I should do. But then again, it's like I don't want to look up a routine or ask anybody, because like the best routine is the one that I discover for myself, right? That's kind of like how I just started doing this using this rowing machine to work out my back more, because I used to just do like single curling rows for my back, and I'm not even sure if my back is strong or not. Like I can't see my back. And I'm not a person that likes to like, check myself out in the mirror either. I just kind of like work out and then leave, so I don't even like, I can't tell if my back is getting any stronger or not. I have no idea. So, I mean, like, I hope it works. It's this machine that you kind of like pull stuff forward. You're like sitting down in this weird position. You got like a pad that's like on your chest, and you're sitting like, you're essentially like you're sitting in a chair backwards, and you're pulling these things forward that you can put weights on. And I feel like it's gonna make my back stronger. I feel like it will. Certainly did feel like it when I was using it. But I kind of started a little, lighter, just because I don't want to tear anything. I've actually been kind of blessed in like I have not torn any muscle while working out at the gym, which is great news, because I've heard people, that they tear their muscle or tear something or tear multiple things while they work out, and they gotta take like a giant rest from doing that. It's like, oh man, like first of all, I've never torn a muscle like that ever. I mean, I've been sore, don't get me wrong. I've been very sore, but I have not ever torn a muscle. I was not really much of an athlete when I was younger, so I didn't really tear anything when I was young. So I have like no experience of how like that actually feels, or what that would even feel like, or how I would be able to like move if that even happened, right? I've only seen people or hear people tore things for the most part when I'm watching like sports. I think I was watching years ago. I was watching football. It was back when Ray Lewis was still on the Ravens, and I think he was going for a tackle. He made the tackle, and I guess there was so much force that he led with the tackle, and the running back was able to still like, not go down quietly. So he had, force as well, colliding, and when he brought him down, like he did not really like lift his arm all that much. And what had happened was he had torn his tricep muscle. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh my God, that would hurt so bad. And I think he had like a gigantic bruise, like on the tricep area. I couldn't even move it. I was like, Jesus, I have never had that experience in my life, right? Ever. But I would imagine like it would hurt so freaking bad to tear a muscle that way. And people do that in the gym, like I wouldn't say all the time, but it's kind of like it's more common than you might think. Like that to me would just be so terrible. I wouldn't even want to like go into like how would you even repair that, because it's not like you have like surgery. I mean I'm no doctor. I'm not a physician. I'm not like any type of medical expert. So like wouldn't you just like wait and have your pec or tricep or bicep heal itself? How long would that take? I have no idea. I never really have a whole lot of like strain and pain when I'm like working out. So like that to me is a good sign. That to me lets me know that hey, at least I'm like, lifting this, or, curling or pushing this, I guess in a somewhat good form. So like I'm not like having to, you know, injure myself, right? The worst thing you can do, I think, at a gym is injure yourself. I've never done that before, never been close, really. So I'm blessed for that, but I can only imagine if that happens to you, oh man, that would not be a good thing. Talk about embarrassing too. You know that the one thing that they tell you, or they actually one thing that they don't tell you at the gym, and I've been going to a gym for a long time, is that you actually want to lift more than you ever have at a gym than the weights that you might have at home. You want to do so much more at a gym than your own home weights. It's kind of crazy because I have home weights, right? I even have a bench in my garage. It's not the best. It's an old one, very old. I don't have like the most state of the art weights either. I have some. I got some dumbbells. I got a curling bar, and I have a bench, right? I have all that stuff. It's not the best, like I said, but it can get the job done. I want to do so much more when I'm at a gym than in my own garage. And I always tell myself this too. Like when I wake up sometimes and I don't actually want to drive to the gym, because the gym I go to is in a different town than where I live, only because I work in a different town. So I'm like, hey, after work, I make no excuses. I just go to the gym. That way, when I'm done, boom, go home after. I don't want to have to go to work. Then when I'm off work, go home, grab my stuff, go back to the gym in a different town. That to me is not something that's not ideal. That's not very smart. That's not using my resources to their finest, I think. So I just go right after work. I just hit it after. Usually I do. And I just don't ever want to have to go home and then do that. Because I know if I go home, I'm like, oh, look at my couch right there. That couch looks like it could use me taking a nap right about now. Nap time. I don't ever want to have to go through that or put put me in that mentality, because I'm pretty disciplined. I'm pretty, I have like a routine. I know what I need to do when it needs to be done. I'm pretty good at that. But if you give me an opportunity to take a nice nap after a long day at work, I think I'm gonna take you up on that. I don't want to, right? I know I shouldn't, but it's like, dang, what's one little nap gonna do? Sometimes I even like say to myself, all right, 20 minutes, and that's it, and then you're getting up. How often does that ever happen? Let's be honest. How many times do you tell yourself that I'm gonna take a 20-minute nap, right? 2-0. I'm going to wake up after that and do something. Maybe a couple times, right? Maybe there's a few times where you actually succeed and you're like, oh, you wake up, you're like, all right, time to go for a run or something like that. Other times you're like, 20 more minutes and maybe 20 more. All of a sudden it's been an hour. Like, oh, crap. But then again, you know what, man? Napping takes up too much time. When you got stuff to do, man, you can't afford to take a nap. You really, really can't. You got to get up and start doing crap. There's really no other way, to look at it. You have to just get up and get going. It's kind of like how we're all wired. Some of us, we got to go get stuff done. We come from a time, right? Human history back in at least 500 years ago, right? At least. You couldn't just not do anything. You had to go and farm. You had to go and hunt. You had to go to work. You had to go trade something with somebody. You had to make an expedition somewhere. You had to go discover this area. You had to go tend to your cattle. You had to go get some apples. You had to go fetch water. You didn't have time to take a nap 500 years ago. What makes you think that you have time to take a nap now? Oh, because you have a house? Because you have a couch? Nah. You still got stuff to do, Hey, I had a day off a few days ago, right? And I had to, 1, go work out, 2, go return something, 3, go buy groceries and make my stuff, right? Make my food, meal prep, all that jazz, do laundry, and, get ready for work the next day, right? That is what we are designed to do. Whether you like it or not, you can't just sleep all day. Can't do it. It's not possible. So what I have learned also most recently actually, a couple days ago, I have become, and I don't know if it's a mentality thing. It could be a mentality thing. But I have become a much faster reader. And this is only from reading 2 days in a row, right? I have essentially doubled my reading pace in these past 2 days of reading my book. And I'm actually shocking myself, because I never was a fast reader. Depending on what it was, depending on how it was written, I would have to reread things all the time just to understand what's happening. But lately, when I've been reading my book, I've been going by pretty quick. I'm almost shocked. I was thinking to myself, dude, if I had this ability to read this quickly in elementary school, in junior high, when it really mattered, it would have been awesome. In junior high and in elementary school, where I went to school, we had this thing called AR, shortened for accelerated reader. And what you would have to do is, it's actually really good, because now that I think about it, when I was in school, when I had to participate in it, I hated it. I didn't like it. Now that I think about it now, I'm like, I would have been cool at that if I had the mentality I have now. But essentially what it was is you would be given a number of points that you had to get by the end of the semester. And these points, you get them by 1, reading an entire book, 2, taking a test on that book, and depending how much you get right on that test, let's say it's like out of like 10 questions, right? And you need to get 80 points by the end of the semester. You need to either 1, read 8 books and get all 10 questions right on these level of books, get 100% all of them and achieve that goal. Or you could read a bunch of small books with lesser points and read more of those, take the test and score the points to get those, to get the score that way. Or you could read an even bigger book, which equals more points, and then you read less bigger books to achieve that score. Now, I was a dummy, so I was in like 7th grade, and my reading level was 3rd. I was like, what? Why is it 3rd? And because I think you take like some kind of test in to place where your reading level is at the very beginning of the year. I don't even remember how the test was. I think it was like, read this, and this passage, and then tell me what it really means. Or like, they'll ask you a question like, what color was so-and-so's sweater from this passage? I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't important. So I was like, when it was red, I was like, the answer was red. I put like, I don't know, green. Boom. Down to 3rd grade reading level. See ya. Have a good time. So I'm like, what? Okay, whatever. And I, being myself, I was like, hey, I'm in 7th grade. I don't want to read, the Treehouse book again. I want to read something cool. Because, hey, I have a brain. Might not be the best brain, but I have a brain. And I'm interested in things that look interesting, right? There was this book I think I was in the 5th grade. And it was called 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I think the book was like 900 pages maybe. First of all, I was like, why is a book that is not the Bible this long? There's no way. How could someone write 900 pages about going deep into an ocean? Couldn't believe it. I didn't understand that. That made no sense to me, right? This is when I was in 5th grade, 5th or 6th grade, I think. Like, first of all, why is a book that dense in a 5th or 6th grade school? What the heck is this all about? And then I did some research. I did some digging. I was like, hey, librarian, what is the reading level of this book? And it goes by like numerical, right? So 1 is 1st grade, 2 2nd grade, 3 3rd grade, so on and so on, right? And she said it was 12th grade. And I was like, wait, lady, that's high school. I'm in the 5th grade. Who can read this? And then she's like, oh, he can. I was like, how? She's like, well, he scored really well on his... I was like, okay. I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I'm just not a reader. Maybe I just can't read all this cool stuff in this book. Look at this book. This is about like Hercules. What's the thing? 10th. Dang it. Can't read that. Oh, look at this one. This is a Great Wall of China. This is awesome. What is this? 9. I can't read that either. Crap. What am I supposed to do? So what do? I disobey orders, direct orders from this test from my teachers. What did I do? I read a higher level book, right? So, back to when I was in junior high as a 7th grader, I got sick and tired of being told by some dumb test that, hey, you're a 3rd grade reader. 3rd grade reading level, idiot. Read Treehouse again. Like, nope. So what did I do? I went for a book that was just at my grade, maybe even one higher. It was a long book, but I read it. It was called Aragon. It was a book about a blue dragon and a guy who rode that blue dragon and had a sword and defeated evil and was a hero. And I read that book. It's a good book. Really good book. I got a 9 out of 10 on that test. I missed one question, and I got like 20 points for that. And I was like, hell yeah. No stupid test is right. I just read a 7th grade, maybe even an 8th grade reading level book, and I passed the test. What's your test going to say now? That it was that I should be reading Treehouse again? No. Absolutely not. What the heck? So I from then on, I read more and more advanced level books according to where I was placed on the test. And I was like, you know what? I'm not reading Treehouse no more. I'm reading this cool shit. Yeah, I have a brain. Yeah, I do. Trust me. Give me something cool to read, and then I'll be like, yeah, I know what's happening. Yeah. I'm not gonna pay attention to some BS passage that I don't care about. Give me a book about a dragon. Give me a book about medieval fantasy and swords and bows and arrows, and I'll read the heck out of it. Yeah, give me something cool to read. Not like these stupid novels they give you in school. Like, hey, read Catcher in Rye, and then give me an essay. It's like, no. It's like, why not? Because that book is silly. That book is stupid. Why would I read that book? It's a requirement by who? The state. Well, the state should have read Aragon and not Catcher in Rye. I mean, I couldn't believe it. You know, some of the books, I think I've talked about this before, but I just cannot stand some of the books that the school will make you read to learn. And I don't necessarily know what exactly they're trying to get out of that book for you to learn. You know, like Great Gatsby, right? We got to read that. I don't even know what the heck Gatsby is or why he's great. Is Gatsby his name, or is he like titled that? I have no idea. All I know is that there's a movie with Tobey Maguire and Leonardo DiCaprio. And I was like, okay, I guess it was a good enough book to be a movie. Good job, author. You made something that people might want to watch on their TV someday. You know? I don't know. There was another book that we read that was recently made into a movie that, not recently, but maybe about like a good 20 years ago. Maybe a little less than that. And I had just seen like an Instagram reel comparing the time of when it was, what time period the book is set in. The book was called The Giver. And I remember like reading this book. And I remember like my English teacher at the time in 7th grade was like, you guys are going to love The Giver. It's such a good book. It was trash. I mean, it wasn't Aragon. It wasn't a good book at all. I had no idea what was going on. All I remember is that it's about dystopia or a utopia in the future. A utopia which is essentially communism. I was like, okay, no wonder this lady says I'm going to enjoy this. She might be a commie. So, didn't enjoy it at all, really. I don't even remember it. Then they made a movie of The Giver. And I just remembered it was a movie, I believe, starring Jeff Bridges as the giver. I guess he's the giver. Because the book has like a cover, right? Like all books do. And the cover for this book was an old white guy with a beard and like long hair. And I remember that. And I was like, wait, this looks stupid. So get this. I was incorrect about when this movie came out. This movie came out in 2014, which is like 12 years ago. So I was a bit wrong on that. But it is called The Giver. Check this out, bro. This movie got a budget. It had a cast. It had Jeff Bridges and Meryl Streep in the movie. Let's see if anybody else that's important. Whoa. Alexander Skarsgård, Katie Holmes, and Taylor Swift were all in this movie. I don't even remember this. 2014. What year? I was 2 years out of high school. Not to date me, but I was 2 years out of high school. I don't remember this at all. Hold on. So you're telling me that Miss Swift was in this movie? And the tagline for this movie, The Giver, is called Search for Truth, Find Freedom. Okay, I don't know what that means at all. I have no idea. The Giver, based on the acclaimed bestseller. I just want to read the synopsis real quick for this so I know exactly what I was told to read when I was in junior high. In a seemingly perfect community, without war, pain, suffering, differences, or choices, a young boy is chosen to learn from an elderly man the true pain and pleasure of the real world. So, if you think about it, no war, no pain, no suffering, no differences, no choices, communism. I knew it. That's insane. I don't know what. I just don't understand. What a strange book, though, to like have, seventh graders read. Right? I just feel like that's a strange book. I cannot believe that. Well, again, the state doesn't know anything. They don't know anything. It's like, here's a book on communism. Now, I don't remember the book. I don't even know what happens in the movie. Do they show, like, hey, this is communism, it's bad. Escape it. Don't do it. You won't like it. Or is it like, look at this, communism. Yeah, this guy with a beard is not a good guy because he wants to go against the commies, and we can't have that. I don't know. I'm not a politician, not to make it political or anything like that, but that sounds like a crazy thing to happen in this book. Again, not the greatest book that you can, a cool book for the time, but Aragon would have been a way better read for young students to read, than The Giver. Jeez. Again, if I had my reading skills now that I have today, when I was young, I would have been like the master at reading. I would have been. Maybe my brain was just not caught up yet. Maybe the kid who could read a senior level reading book when he was in 5th grade, maybe now he's a genius. Maybe now he's like working for Elon Musk, making like an anti-gravity generator, maybe making a warp drive to make, transportation easier, maybe back engineering some alien spacecraft to propel us to other galaxies within our lifetimes. Maybe that guy, that really cool dude that could read senior level books in the 5th grade is doing incredible things. Honestly, to God, I hope he is, the next Bill Gates. Because back then, when I was the librarian said he could read this and he could read that, I'm like, what? Is this guy like Jimmy Neutron? This guy's a genius. Because it's like, what do you mean? Why is he a genius? Because the librarian told me that he could read this. Is that kind of weird though? Like, librarian told him he could read this because he took a quiz. I don't know. Seems kind of weird, kind of fishy. I don't know. Maybe he was just more curious back then than I was. I don't know. I have no idea. But then again, that book, 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, like approaching like 1,000 pages, like, why are you that long? Why is a book that long? I almost got like so annoyed when I was younger. I was reading Harry Potter. I was reading book 1, book 2, book 3. I'm like, these are pretty good. Then I got to book 4 and I was like, why is this book so long? It's 700 pages. And then the 5th one is like 800. I was like, why is this book so freaking long? What the heck, JK? Why does this year feel longer than the last years? And they're not even in school anymore at that point. Or maybe they are, but they're not doing assignments. They're not freaking writing papers. They're like fighting evil. But that's much quicker than doing assignments, I would think. Magic lessons, wanding skills, levitation spells. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I really have an issue with books that are way too long. I really do. It's like, does it need to be this long? If I read this and I'm like, oh, this is dragging, I'm going to be like, all right, close it. You had your shot. You failed. Moving on to the next one. That's what I would say. It's like, I don't know. I mean, did she know that she was writing children's novels with Harry Potter? Like, what child's going to read 800 pages like that? Why? For what? Are they going to remember what happened from page 1 to page 1,000? No one does. I mean, unless the comprehension is just not there. At least my comprehension is just not there. I mean, let me be honest with you. I'm reading books right now, right? I'm not going to remember every single little detail that this person was described to wear, they were wearing at this one meeting that happened on page 5. And I'm on page like 300. I'm not going to remember that unless it's mentioned again. But strictly off like memory, there's no way. No way. How can anyone remember that? You know? It's like, what I mean, like, what do we, I mean, are we reading for the story or to remember what happened here, what happened there? Or are we just like remembering for like, or are we just trying to read a story, right? When did reading become such a academic task, right? We're reading books, right? Books are usually stories, right? That we consume and that we enjoy, right? If you remember, a series of unfortunate events, those were really good books. And they weren't like crazy long. I think the longest one might have been like 350 pages, maybe 400, right? But they weren't like 8 Harry Potter insanely long books. Like, they got to the point, they told the story, and then they moved on to the next one. I think there was like maybe 11 or 12 of them, right? The author got rich and famous and then just quit after that. But his books were awesome. Those were really, really good books. If you never read them, I mean, you should have. They were really good books. Growing up, they were really, really, really cool. A little depressing, but not like crazy depressing. Like, not like I want to be emo now or I want to wear as black. Like, just like kind of like, ooh, these poor kids had it rough. Thank God I'm not a kid living through a series of unfortunate events. Like, thank God I'm not. Oh, what the heck is his name? What's the main dude's name in those books? Claus? Thank God I'm not Claus in that book. I remember like they made a movie out of that, and the movie was it was one movie starring Jim Carrey. I'm pretty sure it came out like, I want to say like maybe 2008, 2009, maybe even before that, maybe like 2007 or 6. It's been a while, but Jim Carrey played the bad guy, I would say, the antagonist. He was really good in the movie. What was his name? Count Olaf. Yes. So he was Count Olaf in a series of unfortunate events. I don't know what count means. Like, count, is that like a title? Is it a ranking? I don't know what that means. It's definitely not a name. It's not someone's first name at all. I have no idea what that means. But he was a count. Of what? I don't know. But he was a count. But he was good in that. He was really good. And I remember watching it. You know what? I think actually we might have taken like a school field trip to watch that movie. That was a good one. It was very divisive between the readers of the books that, I went to school with at the time. Because it was essentially one movie was book 1, 2, and 3 in one movie. And the ending for book 1 was the ending of the movie, even though it had like parts of, the beginning was the beginning of 1, the middle was like a mixture of 2 and 3, and then the ending was of book 1, if that makes any sense. It told it pretty well. It was constructed well as a movie, for sure. Like, it makes sense of why they did it. It was more like concluding end to that movie, leaving for more, obviously, but they never made more. And then there was a series, I think, that was on Netflix. I'm pretty sure I want to say that another guy was Count Olaf. Who was it? It wasn't Jim Carrey. It might have been a guy from that one show on TV. Blonde guy from, I think it was New Girl. No, I believe his name is Neil Patrick Harris. I don't know if he's still acting, but I'm pretty sure, I think he was Count Olaf in that TV show on Netflix. I don't know if that was good or not at all, but I don't know. I have no idea. A lot of Netflix's stuff is just bad nowadays. But yeah, those were the divisive. When that movie was divisive when it came out. I remember that. Not as divisive as movies can be now, though. Movies now, today, are the most divisive things you could possibly talk about. I mean, I'm trying to think of, like, what was the one movie that was coming out years ago that began this divisive, territorial way of thinking for movies? Because I know I'm part of this too. I could be very divisive. I could be on a good or pro or against a movie, and I will be very passionate about it. I want to say the first movie that I can remember that began this era of almost like political sides, but for a movie, was Man of Steel. When I saw Man of Steel, I liked it. I really did like it. Just like it, though. I didn't love it. And a lot of my friends loved it. Some of my other friends did not love it. But I think we're all kind of going into expecting, like, this is going to be an incredible movie, no matter what. But it wasn't. And after that was in 2013, I want to say, when that movie came out. That was like one of the first movies I could remember when I was like, this is not that great. Another movie I remember when where I was like also like not really on the same page as my friends who loved it, was, I want to say, the 2014 Godzilla movie. The marketing, it looked great, it looked incredible, it looked awesome, and when I saw it, I was disappointed in the movie. And my friends were like, no, it was the best thing I've ever seen. I was like, okay, buddy, calm down. Like, it wasn't. So those movies, I was kind of like on more of like the not so good side when I wanted it to be great. And then I was on the this is incredible side when The Force Awakens came out. And then I was on the incredible side when Last Jedi came out. And then after a few years after those movies went by, I was still pretty much, on board with like Force and Jedi up until Rise, and then I saw Rise, and I was like, okay, this is all killed. This is all destroyed. Like, it doesn't even matter anymore. They're all bad. They all suck. Those were like the main movies I think I can remember where it became like divisiveness between like, fans of these movies got like really, really crazy. And I was just like, oh, this is all so bad, But I remember, back in the day, before those movies came out, it was a series of unfortunate events. That's kind of what started the divisiveness, at least in my era, in my generation at least. Moving on, a little bit of sports before I wrap it up and get out of here. There were some firings that had happened in the world of the NFL. Head coaches being let go. The season is over. We are moving on to the playoffs heading into this Saturday. But a lot of big name coaches got, let go in the past few days. Just to name a few, Raheem Morris was let go from the Falcons. I mean, not a good year, right? Michael Penix went down like in the middle of the season, and they had to put Kirk Cousins in. It wasn't really going to work out. I mean, like, he did the best that he could, but I mean, it just wasn't enough, and he got fired for it. Kevin Stefanski, honestly, I've never seen a coach. I mean, like Kevin Stefanski, right? Who is just not supported, wasn't supported at all from the front office, and what he was given with this team that he had. And I think that just because like this year was so bad, he went through. I mean, Joe Flacco, Dylan Raiola, or Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, like the underperforming of this entire team. It was just like they had to blame it on somebody, and they just chose Kevin Stefanski. Like, I mean, no shot. This season is his fault. It's not. It's who he has on his team. It's the team that the front office assembled and that the GM assembled, and they're just like, hey, make it work. It's like, that's not really how it works, guys, at all. And he got the short end of the stick, and he was the one that got fired. In my opinion, not his fault at all, but the ownership is what makes those decisions, and they're like, you know what, get him out. That's a rough one, dude. That's a rough one. That just shows you like how like the NFL is just a business, which it is. It really is. I mean, if you're not gonna, those coaches, as good as they are, they're replaceable. Yeah, it's wild. Jonathan Gannon fired, or not fired, but parting ways with the Arizona Cardinals. After I want to say like maybe 2 or 3 years. Definitely a lesser known coach, not a really like big named coach out there, but benching Kyler Murray, probably not the best decision to make in the light of the owner or the GM who drafted him, and going with Jacoby Brissett over Kyler Murray. There's definitely something going on there that we have no idea in terms of like why that decision was made that way. Why was Jacoby Brissett starting over Kyler Murray, who's not really injured, can play, right? You gotta think like there was some disagreement there that is like, now that the season's over, it's like, okay, now we gotta clear house with, this guy was not working out for us. We just gotta get him out. Pete Carroll fired from the Raiders after one season, one and done. Record was 3-14. I'm actually okay with that, because if you think about it, dude, you're Pete Carroll, right? You won a Super Bowl, you won a national championship in college. You have coached very successful teams. You had very consistent and a lot of success in the NFL. You have. You really, really have. Um, Everything this year for Las Vegas, in terms of like the product that they put on that field, was by far the worst thing that you could ever put on a football field. Offense, defense, special teams, everything that they had put out on tape this year was bad. Every single thing was bad. You cannot look at this year for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I witnessed it. I experienced it a few weeks ago. I was there. I saw it. It's atrocious. It's terrible. You cannot like look at it and be like, you know what? We can run with Pete again. He had no control. He had no enthusiasm. He had no pep in his step. He had like nothing going on with that team. Not to say that the team was terrible. The team wasn't like the worst talented team ever, but definitely like couldn't get anything out of anybody. Geno Smith was terrible. The offense in total was terrible. The defense was okay. I mean, you had Max Crosby, you had Brock Bowers, but you don't have anybody that's actually good enough to perform well. You know, Geno wasn't good enough. I mean, you had him 2 years ago in Seattle, and you were okay with him back then. Maybe it's the age, maybe it's just like the mental sharpness. It didn't work out at all. It was one of the biggest colossal disasters of a move that you could possibly make. And I thought, going into this year, I was like, you know what? Pete Carroll, yeah, he's old, but he's stable. Like, he's going to actually be like a stable head coach and hopefully bring in a culture to shape that team up. Nope, didn't work at all. I think there was like maybe only a few times where the Raiders did not score a single point in the games, in competition this year. That cannot be allowed. You cannot not score in the NFL. Not okay. So that firing was a shock for sure. And I heard that Tom Brady is going to have much more input on who is the next head coach. And honestly, that's how it should be. I have a lot of Raiders fans that I am friends with and family that I know, right? And pretty much everyone says it unanimously. Like, we need a new coach, you need a new quarterback, you need a new owner, you need everything. It's like, yeah, you do. That dude Mark Davis, I don't think he knows what he's doing. I really don't. I think if you're Mark Davis, you give all the money, you give all the resources, you give all the team building responsibilities to Tom Brady, and you let him do it. I don't think that this guy, Mark Davis, could have any say in what goes next. I don't think he can. Because he had signed Pete Carroll to a 3-year deal and fired him after year 1. He knew that this was a colossal disaster. Colossal. Unrepairable. FUBAR. And he let him go. It had to be done, though. And then lastly, John Harbaugh parting ways with the Baltimore Ravens. Honestly, this is going to be the best news for Ravens fans in a long time. Probably since the signing of Lamar Jackson, the best news, the best decision that they have made for that team since drafting Lamar Jackson. You actually now will have a coach that has the guts, hopefully. You hire some younger guy that has guts, that's got balls to make those calls, to make the decisions that put him out of these games that they choke away. Let's be honest, John Harbaugh was a very, very stable and successful head coach at Baltimore. He had a tremendous record, multiple winning seasons, playoff appearances, AFC Championship appearances, Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. Like he's a proven winner. Now, these past 3 or 4 years, no. I don't think people really in Baltimore, whether it's the fans or even the ownership, I don't think they care anymore about AFC Championship game appearances anymore. I don't think that they care about playoff appearances. I don't even think that they care about, well, we beat the Steelers. It's like, no, like, you are wasting. I mean, I don't know if it's not really directly. It could be, but it could not be. Lamar Jackson's years are just going. And you are in a division with the Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Steelers with old man Aaron Rodgers, and you couldn't win the division? Nope. And these bad choking calls that you let happen in the past 3 or 4 seasons to end your season? Yeah, no. I mean, sooner or later, the front office is going to be like, you know what? We're sick and tired of being a regular season team. We need to be a championship team. Because let's face it, that's what they were. Not this year, but the past couple years when they had really, really good regular season records. Like, they were good in the regular season. But when it mattered in the playoffs, in the AFC Championship games, shoot, who cares? Who cares about your regular season record? Who cares when you went 13-4 or 12-5 or 11-6 or shoot, I think there was a year where it might have been like the best year was 13-4. Who cares? No one cares. You made it all the way to the AFC Championship game. No one cares. No one gives a damn. You got to get to the Super Bowl. You have to at least get there. They were just tired of never getting there, especially with the teams that they've had and Lamar Jackson. It's like, nah. Can't be wasting time like that. Cannot. Anyways, guys, this is going to be it for me today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, and do all that good stuff. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.